Welcome back to the 2019 Gibbys. I'm your host with the most, Gibbs. And today, we're going over best region, most important goal, surprising team, and surprising player of the year. If you missed our day one award ceremony, it's back, one YouTube video prior on Monday. And this one will come out on Wednesday. Hopefully, I don't mess that up. But again, we just want to kind of celebrate Rocket League as a whole in 2019 and give out some fun awards. So let's get to it. In day number 2, we're going to start with surprising player of the year. I actually forgot to make my clips into a page, so it's all right. It's fine. We'll worry about that later. Anyway, surprising player of the year. So these guys are the ones that coming into 2019 maybe didn't have, wasn't expecting much, and they really surprised me throughout the year. So let's just get started. Number 1, Yukio on Dignitas. I was a huge, I was very critical when Dignitas picked up Yukio, obviously with K-Dop leaving and Yukio coming in. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. Well, right away, they win DreamHack Leipzig. And sure, that there was times where it was a little bit shaky. Season 7, obviously they didn't have the best performance as a team, but I don't think a lot of that fell on Yukio. Season 8, however, league play at least, Yukio was pretty rough. But he made up for it at the World Championship throughout the playoffs as well. So with one of the best World Championship performances we've seen, Yukio really surprised me throughout the year. Sure, there was ups and downs, and that's why he's probably number 3. But Yukio really stepped up to the plate and really became one of those players that is going to be hard to take off a roster. So Yukio, hats off to you, number 3. Number 2, Bluey from Barca. So when Barca came into the league, when they were savage back at the beginning of 2019, I was like, it's Bluey, it's Devo, it's Alpha. I think a lot of people had some eyes on Alpha. But one thing I want to point out, too, for surprising player, I didn't include any rookies in this because it's not, it is sometimes a surprise, but I wanted to talk more about veterans that have been in the league and then maybe had a really good elevation through 2019. So Bluey, on my hand, I thought Season 7 wasn't fantastic from him. I thought a lot of it fell onto Alpha, but he also had some pretty good DreamHacks here or there as well. But then Season 8, obviously, winning that MVP, really taking the team and putting it on his back when they needed it most. Unfortunately, they didn't make the World Championships. I can't really fault Bluey for that, though, because in all the series that they lost that were incredibly close, Bluey was a standout player. I think the only time maybe it wasn't as much of a impact player was probably the regional championships versus Dignitas. But generally, Bluey had a fantastic 2019. He was one of those players where I was like, all right, Savage is coming to the RLCS. They'll probably lose a couple games at the beginning. And then, Bluey will start making excuses. And then they'll either get relegated or Bluey will be off the team. Now, as of now, Bluey's not off the team, but supposedly he is anyway. But he did have a fantastic 2019, and I really wanted to show that in my awards. So Bluey, number 2. Number 1, Farah from Reciprocity. He was one of these players where we really began to see that leadership come into effect with Farah. We saw a lot more of it at LANs where they started making runs. At the beginning of 2019, Reciprocity, back then PSG, was kind of a joke. It was all right, they're going to get reverse swept. They'll never finish top 4. It's just never going to happen. But I feel like every time we saw them in those 1-minute breaks at LANs where Farah is trying to coach these guys to a win, then just seeing the team turn it around throughout the series, and you could really feel like that was Farah. Plus, he played exceptionally well this year. It was probably his 2 best RLCS seasons I've seen from him. He was always a player where I'm like, maybe he's a good leader, but on the field, maybe it's not there. But he really, really stepped up this season or this year with back in Season 7 shooting exceptionally well. And then Season 8, a lot more demo plays, a lot more just chaos by Farah. Out of all players, you wouldn't expect it from Farah. So it seems like he's really trying to adapt his game to make it work for Reciprocity. And sure, we're going to talk a lot about Chaussette, where the success comes from him. But I thought Farah was a key part as well to really get them into that top 4 status at different times throughout the year. So Farah, my most surprising player of the year. Because at the beginning of 2019, these three players, I probably would have been like, by 2020, maybe they're off their teams. And I was right with 1/3 of them. Sorry, Bluey. Anyway, but it looks like Yukio, Bluey, and Farah all had exceptional 2019 years. And I want to see what they do in 2020. Moving on to surprising team of the year. I actually don't know what order I have these in because I kind of forgot. But we're going to go. It's kind of the same thing of like. It's not necessarily a veteran team because I feel like a lot of rookie teams come up and make things happen. So it's probably going to be a lot more rookie teams here because there's no rookie team of the year because that's kind of weird. So let's get into it. Space Station Gaming is my number 3. I felt like when they were bred, they came in through the rival series, and I don't think many people expected much from them. I think it was Splice will probably finish slightly above them, and Bred will just do their thing. Well, their first season played exceptionally well. Just barely fell short of making it to the World Championships, had one bad day. And then roster moves happened that they bring in Arsenal. And then they make a top 4 finish in Season 8 Worlds. They didn't have a great off-season with like Dream Hacks or anything like that. But at least in the RLCS ecosystem, Space Station really stood out as one of those teams that's going to be competing for a top 4 spot in NA season in and season out. So I thought they had an exceptional 2019. And again, 2020, it's only looking up, but it's also looking a lot more competitive for North America. So we'll see how that goes. Number 2, Barca Esports. Again, like I talked about this in the first video, FC Barcelona now wants to be called Barca Esports. So that's why we're calling it in here. They do have it lowercase e, capital S, but I refuse to do that. So they're Barca Esports with a capital E. Barca Esports coming in again. We talked about this a little bit with Bluey when they're coming in as Savage in the first Dream Hack of the year. I'm like, all right, we'll see what they can do. And then they showed us what they can do, where they like dominated Cloud9 more so than what we've ever seen before at that moment in time. And then it was just up and up from there. They made it to their first World Championship with a top 2 finish in league play. They fell a little bit short at the World Championship, finishing in the quarterfinals, but still, fantastic performance there. Then, there was some turmoil, like Alpha leaves, and again, I think everyone expected them to just fall apart and finish bottom 2, but it didn't happen again. They fought back. Sure, their record was a little bit weird. They finished top 6, but it was a lot of weird mistakes that really cost them games, but they were an incredibly competitive team. And I talked about them going into the playoffs. I thought they might have been the best European team. Well, maybe I was wrong there, but I was only wrong by 3 goals or 3 games from being the best in the world. They lose to Dignitas in 7. Dignitas loses in 7 to Vitality at the World Championship. Vitality loses in 7 to Energy. So Barca Esports, man, you were 3 games away from being the best in the world. Simple as that. Easy math, guys. Easy math. Number 1, the Pittsburgh Ignites. DreamHack Montreal, once again, something special happened there where this team just elevated to new heights. And it was very surprising, too, because sure, they made it to RLCS, and everyone's like, all right, very similar to Space Station. Like, okay, we'll see what they do. Then they lose Arsenal because he leaves, and everyone's like, all right, it's over. They're probably not going to have a shot. But most people predicted them to do well in Season 8 because right before Season 8 was DreamHack Montreal, where they were not expected to do anything. I'm pretty sure they were like the 13th or 14th seed or 12th seed, like around that area. And they came out and just whooped people with their new like aggressive play style that we haven't seen. Like, we talk about the new meta, and I think Pittsburgh Ignites was that team where it's like, all right, this can actually work versus the old guard. And we haven't seen it work after that in terms of winning a world championship, but obviously there was only one event after that. But Pittsburgh Ignites really made that new meta their own. And definitely a big surprise there was that DreamHack Montreal run, and I think that's why they win our number 1 pick for the 2019 Gibbys. So hats off to Pittsburgh Ignites. All right, moving on. Important goal of the year. So I have to get some clips ready for you guys here. I guess I could just use this one. So I forgot to do this earlier. So let me just do this now. Hopefully no sound plays. All right. So I'm going to get these ready. But most important goal of the year is a little different than most mechanical goal of the year, which we will have a little bit later on day number 3 for our awards. But let me just get these ready here. Oh, you heard something there. I'm going to leave the commentary off for these. Just again, in case there's music or whatever. But let's go into it. Most important goal of the year is basically what it means. Like, it doesn't have to be the prettiest goal. It just has to be the most important. It has to be the goal that really defines a series or really defines a season for a team. So let's get into it. Number 3, the Fairy Peak overtime winner versus TSM. So I'm going to bring this up here. This goal was so important because, again, if you don't remember what was happening like in this series, this was Game 5 overtime to determine who wins the series. On top of that, whoever lost the series was going to the promo tournament in 7th place. But Fairy Peak hits this shot to send Vitality 3rd place into the regional playoffs. And we all know what happened after that. They made it to the World Championship, finished number 2. Wouldn't have happened if Fairy Peak doesn't hit that absolute banger. Sure, it's not the prettiest goal. It's still pretty nice. Like, look at this shot. Off the wall, just perfect placement. If he hits that like middle of the net with a little bit less speed, Alpha makes that save every single time. But Fairy Peak, absolutely nutty shot. And again, the mechanics don't matter as much here. It still helps a little bit of a bonus. But Fairy Peak, he sends Vitality to the regional playoffs and eventually the World Championship because of that shot. Moving on. Sorry about my nose. It's a little stuffy, so my voice sucks. The Vitality, 0-second goal versus G2. So lots of plays here by Vitality. So let's move forward here. So this was game 1 of the grand finals. And this is coming off G2, incredibly hot team. And the reason why I didn't really award it to a player was because the entire team did work here. But this is G2, who's having a fantastic World Championship run. A lot of people saying in the scrims that they are the best team here at the World Championships. Vitality, that they took out Energy, they took out Cloud9. They come into the series, they're about to lose game 1. And they do that, the 0-second goal. And of course, they go on to win this game. But this is the momentum killer right here for G2. And this is where I think a lot of people were like, all right, it's over, man. It's over. There's no way this happens. Like, Fairy Peak, a great air dribble. The K-Dop, the nice touch over to Scrub. Why not? Just puts it top left. Like, you have to put it high. But he puts it in the perfect place anyway. Well done from Vitality. They go on to win that World Championship, maybe because of this goal. We don't know for sure, but that was definitely a momentum swing in that grand finals back in game number 1. Moving forward, the most important goal, I think we all know what this one is. Justin, overtime winner versus Vitality. You can't get more important than game 7 overtime to win the World Championship. And of course, icing on the cake, that it is Justin, the one that hit the most important goal before this in probably the history of Rocket League, or the most clutch goal we've ever seen, the 0-second goal. But Justin, he puts it home. Energy are your world champions. It's what it came down to, guys. 1 goal. An entire season, throughout all the games that both of these teams played, Vitality and Energy, we saw Vitality's run was something crazy, but it came down to just 1 play. Right there, boom, Garrett G to Justin. You can't get any sweeter than that. Justin with the winner. Hats off to Energy. They're going crazy. Turbo's bored already of lifting another trophy. Like, he doesn't even have to weight lift. He can just lift trophies all day. But there it is. Most important goal. Pretty self-explanatory there. So hats off to Justin for the important goal of the year. But again, everyone kind of knew that that was going to be it. But I just wanted some clips for every single show. Now, finally, the final award for this season, the region of the year. The most important, the most prestigious is like if a region can win a Gibby. And we'll see what region that is. I actually have some stats to back this up as well. So let's get into it. Number 3, OCE. Now, so this one could have went either way, right? OC and Sam both had pretty good years. So I shouldn't say pretty good years, but I should say they were comparable years. I feel like Sam, they just came into RCS. They started to wow people, but didn't get the results. Then they go to DreamHack. Their only DreamHack appearance, Lotus finishes in 9th place. Pretty good. OCE had a couple good finishes as well. Ground Zero took out TSM at a DreamHack. Icon, they took out PSG at a DreamHack back when they were Icon. Now the Chiefs. But OC probably had more chances for success, while Sam didn't have as many. So sure, OC had probably had like 1 or 2 better or more results than Sam. But I thought it was basically a tie going into Chiefs versus Renegades. That's what it all came down to at the Season 8 World Championship. You have your very best team from Sam, your very best team from OCE. And I shouldn't say the Chiefs, I'm sorry. I meant Renegades. God damn it, Torsos. Why'd you have to switch off of that? Anyway. Renegades, they take the win in 5. My nose is really stuffy. OC, they get the nod for number 3. Now, number 2. Europe. Number 2 is Europe. So, looking back across the year, we have NA versus Europe. I feel like Europe is normally that region of the year, no matter what. But if you look across every single tournament, or like every single major, North America, when it was like a top 8 team versus a top 8 team from either region, 51 and 46 for North America. It was incredibly close. So if we look at titles, we go WSOE was Europe. We go Leipzig, Europe. Dallas, NA. Season 7, Europe. Valencia, Europe. Then we get 3 in a row for North America with RL Summit, Montreal, and Season 8. So 4 and 4 for titles. Incredibly close. But again, by looking at the matches, just barely. 51 to 46 for NA. Hold on. I'm getting a call. Yo. Hey, what's up, Turbo? Oh, you're from Sweden? Oh, and you got MVP for a North America team? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I'll call you right back. Sorry, guys. I have to make a quick adjustment. Europe is better. I'm sorry. Like, NA needs Europe to come over to NA to win a world championship. Turbo Pulsa, he's a god. Europe is number 1. So I also did a little stat for Turbo wins and losses versus Europe to see how that would sway. Well, if you take those out, he was 9-2 versus Europe. He was clapping his hometown boys when he was on NRG. Well, if you take those out, NA 42 wins, Europe 44 wins. Europe takes the cake. Region of the year. Congrats to Europe. I think they've won this for 4 straight years, 5 straight years even. Maybe back when I was playing, we'll give it to NA for like 2 months. But Europe, you're still region of the year. And now it's going to be harder for NA to win because Turbo's over here. I think Turbo screwed everything up. So, hats off to you, Europe. You win it again. Gosh darn it. But that'll be it for day 2 of the Gibbys, the 2019 Gibbys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy it. And we'll be back on Friday with day 3. Thanks, guys. Bye.